Why, it was like reading about France and the French before the ever-memorable and blessed Revolution, which swept 1,000 years of such villainy away in one swift tidal wave of blood. A settlement of that hoary debt in proportion of half a drop of blood for each hogshead of it that had been pressed by slow tortures out of that people in the weary stretch of 10 centuries of wrong and shame and misery, the likes of which has not to be mated but in hell. There were 2 reigns of terror, if we would remember it and consider it. The one wrought murder in hot passion, the other in heartless cold blood. The one lasted mere months, the other had lasted 1,000 years. The one inflicted death upon 10,000 persons, the other upon 100 million. But our shudders are all for the horrors of the minor terror, the momentary terror, so to speak. Whereas, what is the horror of swift death by the axe compared with lifelong death by slow fire at the stake? A city cemetery could contain the coffins filled by that brief terror, which we all been so diligently taught to shiver at and mourn over. But all France could hardly contain the coffins filled by the older and real terror, that unspeakably bitter and awful terror which none of us has been taught to see in its vastness or pity, as it deserves. All gentle cant, and philosophizing to the contrary notwithstanding, no people in this world ever did achieve their freedom by goody-goody talk and moral suasion. It be an immutable law that all revolutions that will succeed must begin in blood, whatever may answer afterward. If history teaches anything, it teaches that. Mark Twain, from his book, Connecticut Yankee. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the game We the Revolution, a narrative-driven video game set during the height of the French Revolution and the Terror. In fact, the game casts you as a character at the very heart of the Terror in that it makes you one of the judges at the revolutionary tribunal, which sent people off to the guillotine to lose their heads at the baying of the mob. So we'll have to navigate the political landscape between the revolutionaries, the Girondists, the Jacobins, and the people, and try not to lose our own head in the process. No doubt it will prove an interesting journey, and I hope that you are all up for joining me for said journey as we embark upon it. Now, I did initially just start a brief game just to make sure everything recorded and ran properly. But it's just only basically after the opening cutscene. So we'll just get underway again. And I'm sorry, but there's no way for me to turn down the music. That is one of the sort of initial downsides to this game, I have to say. In fact, there are barely any options at all.
Father. I am here. Do you hear me? I gave you the best I could. Why did you disown me? I have your blood in my veins. How could you? Do I mean nothing to you? Why did you grieve for him? He was nothing. I am better than he was. People will follow in my footsteps. Father.
So right off, it's interesting that the game doesn't specifically tell you when it's taking place. Like the year. Remind me next time that I want to stop drinking this cloudy rotgut. Remind me before I drink it. We're disgracing Timmy. Is someone coming? This was bound to happen. I told you. Papa, you said we would go. You promised. Papa had a lot of work. Yes, a lot of heavy classes. You promised me. I can't anymore. I'm fed up with asking. Mama is angry because... Quiet. Today, your favorite son wanted to prove he was more honorable than his father, so he started a fight. A 5-year-old boy, for God's sake. Our neighbors wanted you to explain that to them, but, well, you were fighting for justice. At an inn. Damn you, you bloody drunk. Mother... Documents and letters. Drag and drop documents to manage their layout. Click to display their contents. React to events. Ignoring them may have severe consequences. Notebook. Review detailed information about current events, actions, and characters. Consider the effects and decide the defendant's fate. Change the game settings. Review the current balance of power in Paris and your position therein. Intrigues. Intrigues are complex conflicts between you and another political player. A defeat may turn out to be disastrous for you. Influence points are the main currency in the game. Use them wisely. Notifications. Pay close attention to the changes in your influence and relations with factions. Global modifiers. Some of your decisions and changes in the world of the game may cause global modifiers to come into action. These factors affect relations, reputation, and influence. You can review them in the notebook. Alright, let's see the notebook. Negative relations with factions mean negative consequences for you, e.g. the fervor in Paris rising. Reputation. Reputation impacts everything in the world of the game. Factions, family relations, the audience's attitude, the fervor in the sections, and even the ability to persuade other characters. You'll have a set amount of influence points per day. In the future, you will be able to increase this limit. No global modifier affects your situation at this time. Common folk and revolutionaries. People, friends and family. Mathilde Fidel. Born in Paris, she has never been outside the city. A woman seen by many as a perfect wife. She takes care of the household and the children, and looks after her husband's elderly father. She doesn't show it outright, but she is determined to protect her children at all costs. They are perhaps more important to her than you. Bernard Fidel. A slender and handsome young man, the weight of current developments in France is slowly dawning on him, igniting a revolutionary zeal in his heart. He thinks that the revolutionary judges should only be appointed from the lower classes of society, because only such people can be considered untainted, and able to work towards the common interest, not only their personal gain. His gullibility is more dangerous than Frédéric's, as his actions can carry the same weight as an adult's. People who excel in manipulating young and weak-willed minds may take advantage of his alacrity. He is a fledgling, yet talented fiddler. Frédéric Fidel. Youngest son. Naive and innocent, which is completely normal for a boy his age. He idolizes you and wants to be just like you. Even if he occasionally disobeys his mother, he carries out his father's will to the letter. His favorite toy is a wooden sword that he always carries at his side. In his imagination, he fights against villains, just like his father does in real life. He likes to carve small wooden figurines. Aldrich Fidel. Father. Once a moderately well-off merchant, today a bitter old man left with nothing but feverish visions of impossible vengeance against the Renard family, who once deprived him of his dreams. For several years he was unable to adequately provide for his family to give his children the same standard of living as they used to enjoy. Since you secured your new position at the court, your family was once again able to live a fairly acceptable life, and your father again began dreaming of returning to his former trade. However, Aldrich had grown too old and too tired to revive his long-lost career. Instead of enjoying the prestige and wealth of the Fidel family, he had to bear witness to the Renard family's rise to power. Raymond Devoyer, mentor. A man who has lived long enough to fully realize that justice isn't always the right answer. In his line of work, in these troubled times, the only thing that matters is survival instinct. At times he must go against the interests of other people. A man with such a mindset knows that one must keep an eye open, that one must keep an open ear, both in the parlors and in the back alleys. The Blind Timmy appears to him as a bedtime fable, fitted best for novice law students. Perhaps he perceives too many shades of grey morality to remain an efficient judge. Well, who are we to judge? Even if we are literally a judge. So let's see, okay, news. Make your decision. Your addictions on neighborhood gossip. Your addictions are no longer a secret. The fact that other children are bullying your son because of them is a minor problem. But who is spreading those rumors? It is likely to be one of their parents. They could have whispered into their children's ears whom they shouldn't play with and why. They might even have spiced the story up with a lie. But who will hear it next? Intimidate them or talk to them? I mean, realistically, what would we do? I think we would try and intimidate them, no? I mean, we are a drunk and a gambler. So we've used up all of our influence. Okay, case file. We have not expected this kind of behavior from your son, although apparently we should have. Innocent child's play turned into an assault on our children. The younger one, Antoine, now has a chipped front tooth. We hope that you will punish your child accordingly. Should the situation repeat itself, we will react more decisively. I am sure we can deal with a gambler and drunkard, even if he is a judge. We will not let our children be hurt. Finding links. Find the correct links to unlock questions for the defendant. Choose a line of inquiry and link it to the right category. While linking lines of inquiry and categories, you can make a limited number of mistakes. If you make too many mistakes, the whole system will become locked. Some cases may contain traps. Read through the files thoroughly to find the lines of inquiry that are irrelevant. Possibility of repeating. I'm not sure what that entails. Okay, start with child's play. Course of events, yeah. Gather information and influence the jury's attitude rather, by questioning the defendant. Unlock questions. To ask questions, you have to first unlock them in the inquiry linking menu. Being in the jury's good graces allows you to find out which way they will sway after you have asked the question. How did your play turn into a fight? Our neighbors, Antoine and Sean, they were saying mean things about you. We were playing guards, and they asked me, wait a minute, guards? Guards or cards? No, it can't be cards, so, okay, so I assume they were playing, pretending to be Imperial National Guards or something. And they asked me to pretend to be a drunkard, whom they would, you know. You were fighting both of them at once? He had to. What exactly were they saying? Are you too drunk to guess? I was not asking you. They were yelling that you are... Well, I told them that it's not true, and they started calling me names. They called me a drunkard's son. Who started the fight? I can tell you who ended it. I think it was me. I kicked the one on the left, and then wanted to get the one on the right, but they ended it. They knocked me to the ground and paid me back for hitting them. Did you really break Antoine's tooth? Frederic is just a child. I don't know. I don't think so. Did you hit him in the face? I think I kicked him, but not that hard. That's a tough one, because he was defending our name. Cannot allow our good name to be besmirched by the likes of commoners. Yeah, we will use our rich elitism to favor our child. Of course we will. You did well. A man has to defend the honor of his family, no matter what. Those children are so small, and they already know the truth. The father of my children is a lying drunk and a gambler. Bernard used to worship you, but he soon grew up. Now it is Frédéric's turn to learn the truth that echoes in the streets. Okay, Mathilde. He is no longer fearing your anger. He knows that your threats are empty. Frédéric is only starting to learn the truth about his father from the streets. I was unaware that Mathilde had such a temper. As was I. We will wait outside, as always.
Paris.
Liberté!
We were enchanted by the idea of freedom. We could not resist it. Whole families took to the streets. France was never so happy. We were enchanted enchanted by the idea of freedom.
Act 1. Liberté. Day 1. Find out which verdict is expected by the factions and your close ones. Okay, what do we have here? Case file compiled by Richard Mounier. Jean Renard, a 45-year-old innkeeper, has been charged with fraud. He is accused of diluting alcohol in his tavern, tricking his clients into paying extra. Guests come with their minds set on a specific goal, getting warring drunk. But instead of staggering out after drinking 2 pitchers of wine or several pints of beer, they would sit in the inn until morning, still sober and completely penniless. The innkeeper's fraud came to light when one of the customers discovered the scam and caught the cheater in the act. The man entered the host's cellar and witnessed him diluting the alcohol in the barrels with ordinary water. As a result, customers received only 4 parts of what they paid for, and 1 part from the water carrier. I don't think we're ready for that quite yet. Okay. Most Parisians are ordinary. They have ordinary problems, ordinary consciousness, and an ordinary resistance to pain. They were not hardened by the revolution. The father of the family that spread the rumor about your weaknesses was no different. A few punches were more than enough to convince his instincts that it was time to stop talking. Excellent. Very good then. That pasteur. Putain. A judge of the Revolutionary Tribunal, generally considered a drunkard and gambler. A protégé of Raymond Devoyer, who introduced him to the world of law and regulations. In private, he is an unremarkable character. Robespierre. Owing to his passionate devotion to the revolutionary cause, he is widely referred to as the Incorruptible. As leader of the radical Jacobins, he preserves order in the National Convention with an iron fist and, if need be, terror. Undeniably the most powerful man in Paris in the age of revolution. As yet, none have dared defy him. Yeah, we certainly shall not. We are not suicidal. Okay, they both want him to go to prison. My family wants him to be acquitted or what? Jury has not revealed its verdict yet. In difficult times, people like to seek solace at the bottom of a glass. Please, introduce yourself. My name is Jean Renard, Monsieur le Juge. Nothing but a fraud! Systematically opposing the opinion of the jury may lead to serious consequences. Okay. Okay, that was not just a motive for. That was also incorrect. Oh shit. What the hell? Wasn't this... No. Okay. There. That was... with the witness mouth. I mean, both of these, aren't they the same? Adding water, diluting alcohol. The method, and those both tied to method. So one of these is a trap. Maybe we should call in the witness first. Please call in Thomas Leclerc. Please, introduce yourself. Thomas Leclerc, I'm a regular at Jean Renard's establishment. Oh, he's one of the Renards, the good friends of our fathers, I would assume. How long have you suspected that something was wrong with Monsieur Renard's alcohol? How did you catch Citizen Renard in the act of diluting wine with water? How long have you suspected that something was wrong with Monsieur Renard's alcohol? I became suspicious around a month ago. Plenty of wine jugs were emptied, but instead of getting more drunk, I was just getting sober. It was already dawned when I realized I had no money left on me and I was as sober as a baby. How was that possible? Back then, I didn't realize customers were being served a proper first drink, then receiving more and more water in the drinks after that. Being slightly drunk, they weren't able to notice the difference. Was it like that every time? Every single time? How long have you been involved in the illegal practice of diluting alcohol? It's not an illegal practice, everyone adds a bit. In your case, it was a bit of wine in the water, not the other way around. Have you been doing this for a long time? A few weeks at the most. It's been hard to earn a living lately. I used to run an honest business. Pure wine was overspilling the glasses. Is there any proof to support your testimony? He lied to his customers. No reason he wouldn't lie in court. How did you feel about tricking weary citizens? Terrible, but all I wanted was to keep my business afloat. Others don't mess around for sure. No diluting would be the end of me. So you decided to commit fraud so as to not to lose money? If I lost my tavern, my family would starve to death. Do you have children? I do. 1 son and 2 daughters. Time to start saving up for the dowry. Then why don't you send them to work, idiot? Do your clients drink a lot? Tavern regulars usually drink a lot. So you have been selling plenty of wine. Quite a lot, yes. And yet you have been paying taxes on the amount of wine you have bought, not the amount of wine you have been selling. Correct? I don't understand. You have been paying taxes on 4 wine barrels, but by adding a quarter of water to each, have actually made the money for selling 5 barrels of wine. That's one way of putting it. Perhaps it is correct. I'm not too good with numbers. You are not good with numbers, yet good enough to have calculated that fraud pays off. I wasn't aware. I will take that answer into account. The judge has exposed the pasta! Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much that can be done with this guy. Yeah, they're gonna hate an acquittal. But no, it's obviously gonna be prison for him. Deservedly so. You don't mess around with alcohol. I sentence citizen citoyen Jean Renard to prison. Lead the condemned out. Huzzah! Long live pure wine! Indeed, literally. Long live pure wine. After a trial, click to move on to the next part. Jacques-Louis David. May I remind you that you promised to join me? I have a feeling that tonight's moon favors gamblers. So it does not favor spouses. God should grace us with wives who understand the importance of an evening game of dice. They should also know that the right amount of wine guarantees a lucky roll. I should go home. Bringing a judge to the game has benefits. Other players will surely not cheat. That is a strong argument. My name is Jacques-Louis David. I am but a humble painter, not a silver-tongued judge. You are a sly politician, Shag. As a politician, I understand the importance of keeping promises, and you, my friend, are trying to get out of yours. Oh man, this bastard has us. Yeah, I mean, it seems in character for Alexis to or Alexis to to go drinking, doesn't it? And gambling. All right, but only for a short while. Oh, Matilda. The short while becomes a longer while.
The moon favors gamblers.
What? You can berate me, as you always do. Frederic sometimes imagines you as a deep-sea sailor. He dreams that you visit distant countries, have wonderful adventures, and one day you'll return and tell us all about them. But all I see is a man in a lifeboat, and one of your oars is broken. A furious storm churns up huge waves that are fated to devour you, and I'm standing on the edge of a cliff, holding a makeshift lamp. Your children have already forgotten about you. They are far, far away. Your father died of old age. Your drinking companions now play cards with new friends. But not you. No. I'm still standing on the shore, hoping that your boat does not sink. That vision is not so distant either. Your sons are still young, but the storm has already begun. If you don't turn around now... Good night. Before the storm creates the highest wave, you'll have to bow before it, alone. It will force you to become meek, and nobody will be there to see it. Upon returning home, you can decide how you would like to spend the rest of your day. Each action will affect the other members of the family as well as their attitude towards you. Each character's attitude can provide you with or deprive you of certain bonuses, like reputation or relations with factions. Your youngest son is special. His attitude makes the other family members like you slightly more. Take good care of him. After various important events, you may find yourself with an action forced upon you. On this day, you become the victim of your own decisions. We went with David to play cards. Aww. I made a promise. Liberté, Day 2. Today, the people of Paris commemorate Jacques-Guillaume Simoneau, mayor of Étampes. He was lynched by a furious mob for performing his duties to France. This march shall symbolize the unity of our society and the hope that the most violent stage of the revolution is past us. Let us make sure that no other loyal servant of France becomes a victim of such hatred ever again. King Louis XVI. Simoneau was a good, loyal officer. Those bastards lynched him for observing the law. Will you join me at the march? We ought to show that we oppose the self-appointed executioners and stand alongside of victims. I wonder why the king has taken the trouble to show up. Louis XVI marching arm in arm with the people of Paris. That is unexpected. King Louis. Continue, please. I am merely an observer. Do not change your habits for me. I heard a thing or two about a young and ambitious judge of the tribunal. I was curious whether he is guided by justice or by, entertainment, as some would say. Well, the king is in attendance for this one. That is quite a crowd. I mean, that is, it does sort of unnerve me a little bit. Let's see our notebook. Poor Papa Bernard. Ah, Frederick. That was pretty sweet. So let's see the case. Case file compiled by Nathan Desiraf. The defendant is Olivier Mullier, a 65-year-old master locksmith who is famed among Parisian burglars as an expert on unopenable locks. Last month he was commissioned by the owners of a Parisian glassworks, Jean Rude, Louis Roux, and Ferdinand Salon, to construct locks for ornate chests for valuables presumably as gifts for their wives. The craftsman praised his latest creation as thief-proof. Shortly following their completion, the industrialist's houses were hit by a series of burglaries committed by a recent newcomer to Paris, Hector Villon. The thief from Orléans was caught in the act and shot by Ferdinand Salon. An expensive Turgot map of Paris, with the houses of the recently robbed industrialists marked on it, was found on the deceased. Surprisingly, Salon had given Mullet an identical map as advance payment. This deposit was in addition to the agreed remuneration from all the employers. How do we switch to the next side page? Okay, that would be here. Further interesting information came from the owner of the Ginger Marco Inn. She recalled that on the night preceding the burglary, the locksmith met there with a man she didn't recognize. Based on her description, we were able to identify him as the aforementioned Hector Villon, the man allegedly engaged in an evening of drinking sponsored by Mullet. Evidence and a map of Paris found on Hector Villon. No. Okay, so let's see. The revolutionaries want him imprisoned, but the people want him acquitted. Well, do we have personalities? Mathieu Burel, the agent commander of the National Guard, he has seen enough to put trust in ordinary people, even if they are able to start a revolution. Chose Danton, an attorney himself, he knows the law. Yeah, you know who Danton is. Or maybe, at least I do. An attorney himself, he knows the law as well as the tribunal's judges. This fact is considered by many to be the only thing keeping him alive in light of the numerous accusations of corruption and treason against him. Even more important, however, is his ability to deliver fiery speeches that result in the dismissal of all potential charges. His rivalry with Robespierre has become the talk of the town, and their official relations are often referred to as harsh friendship. So, okay. Right, I need to start linking. Paris, that's evidence. Okay, gives us another question. Okay, down to 3 questions left. Okay. Question is, how will that go? David? artist and politician, his paintings often refer to the revolution. When it comes to his political career, he is an efficient deputy of the convention. Those two areas of his life are blending together and feeding back on themselves. For example, when he led the closure of the Académie Française, the same institution that had rejected him for many years. He is a longtime friend of Judge Fidel. Right then. Robbing the bourgeoisie is no crime. According to the case file, you are Citoyen Olivier Mullier. Is that correct? Indeed it is, Monsieur le Juge. May I have a request? I would like to sit down. I'm an old man, you see. Basic respect for the judiciary requires that you remain standing. Do the names Salon, Rude, and Roux mean anything to you? Why are you so determined to harass an old man? They sound like the names of my debtors. Debtors? They are the victims of activities you conducted. You mean locksmithing? You were commissioned by the victims to make the law. I mean, we want to imprison him because that's what the revolutionaries want, and we want to get in pretty tight with them, I think. You were commissioned by the victims to make chest locks. Who installed them? It was me, naturally, and all in agreement with the contract. My job was to prepare and install the locks, and the employer was only to come and see whether the work was completed, and pay, of course. Was the installation carried out at your workshop? No, on site at the client's property. None of those idlers bothered to deliver the trunks to my workshop, so I had to strain my old legs. Does that mean you knew the addresses of the victims? How else would I get there, blindfolded and on a wagon? Did you know Hector Villon before? This is the first time I've heard the name. That is interesting, as you were seen draining several bottles of wine together at the Ginger Marco Inn. Is that a crime? No, but the question is, why are you denying it now? Was your drinking spree just a deception for discussing the burglary? Nobody I had a drink with introduced themselves as Hector. I didn't plan any heist with a Hector, Victor, or Hugo. I am a locksmith and I earn good money from it. Burglaries are for vagrants without a job. Do you recognize this map? No, I don't recall ever seeing it before. Ferdinand Salon claims that he gave you this map as advance payment for your services. He claims what? That wicked wretch of a second-rate merchant. He gave me a scrap of paper as payment for making 3 locks, and says it's supposed to be worth more than 3,000 francs he owes me. An honest laborer is being judged, while frauds remain at large. Silence! So this map does belong to you? It doesn't. So where is the map that you received from Citoyen Salon? I lost it. But it wasn't even worth a loaf of bread, so I surely won't shed a tear. But if you have it, maybe you stole it from me. You'd better make a note of that Olivier Mullier demands remuneration from Rude, Roux, and Salon. Okay, the jury is leaning towards acquittal. That didn't go well. Were you the one who marked the addresses of the 3 victims on the map? I didn't mark anything. The houses of your clients are marked on the map. I don't know who marked them. Maybe you should ask the person you found the map on. Maybe the court made the marks and has no memory of doing so. Do you not think there are too many coincidences in your story? You obtain the map, but lose it, and then it is found in the thief who has robbed your clients. I know nothing of coincidences, I only make locks. Okay, they trended back towards... Did you give Hector Villon the map? With the houses marked on it? I gave nothing to Achilles, Hector, or any other Greek. Call in the witness, Citoyen Jean-Rude. Jean-Rude, in the flesh. You will not speak unless called upon. Naturally. Of course. What went missing during the burglary? My house was the first one to be robbed, and in my case it was mostly valuables. At Roux's house, he will not say it himself, and I do not want to go to prison. It was the letters he had exchanged for over the years with King Louis. Damn monarchist! Salon did not lose a thing. He shot that vermin in the act. That is what he said. What happened to the items he had stolen? That still remains unknown. According to Salon, Hector had nothing with him. Ferdinand suspects he had hidden the other valuables somewhere. He hid the other items before robbing the last house? Strange. Form of a map disappears. You look upset. What are you afraid of? Maybe we should hit them on these. Advance payment in the form of a map, its disappearance, the murder of a burglar, and a lack of payment for services. It all makes for a rather strange story. A suspicious one too. I do not... What are you mumbling? If I say something, will I be free? He knows something! Please testify what you know immediately. That map was Salon's idea. He told the thief about the advance payment we gave to the locksmith and proposed that Hector seal it. And he did? Indeed, but then the pastel robbed us. Later we were forced by Salon not to pay the locksmith because he sent the thief after us. And that's when it all went down the drain. That's the bourgeoisie for you. He fooled them all in one fell swoop. It sounds like Citoyen Salon had everything planned. However, there is no evidence to support the claim. Perhaps it is Citoyen Rude that is plotting against his partner and wants to frame him. And Villon is dead, so he will not be able to shed light on any of this. If I was younger, I'd give that Salon a drubbing. That pig, that good-for-nothing lying bastard. Please, restrain yourself. The testimony of a witness is still not evidence. Neither of Citoyen Salon's guilt, nor of your innocence. Did you tell Hector Villon how to open? Did you tell Hector Villon how to open the locks in the victim's trunks? I understand what you are implying, but consider this. If he sold the secret of my locks, then my business would be over. Word spreads fast among thieves. Rumor has it that you are one of the best locksmiths in Paris. I should deny it for modesty's sake, but I will not. That cannot be true, though, as a random thief from Orléans was easily able to open your locks. Well, he must have been... Well, then he must have been one of the best thieves in Orléans. Let's be serious, Monsieur le Juge. Every lock can be picked with the right talents, even my locks. I mean, we're not going to be able to convict him. As much as I may want to. How much did you charge for your services? 3,000 francs. Tidy sum, that is. If you were a master locksmith, you charge that much too. That is quite a substantial fee. Indeed. That is how much it costs to have high quality locks made by a master with nearly 50 years of experience. And those bastards never paid me a single franc. The victims did not pay you the agreed amount. Not a franc. I'd beat that money right out of them, but I'm too old for that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot we can do here. Jeez. Common people really won't like that. The jury wants to acquit him. The people want to acquit him. The revolutionaries want to throw him in jail. And I mean, to be honest, that whole story does stink to high heaven. The jury votes in favor of acquitting the defendant. They find him innocent. Well, I mean, then there is nothing to be done. I would... You know, we are part of a somewhat corrupt system a little bit, but in this instance I don't think we can justify it. The verdict for citoyen Olivier Mullier is not guilty. Lead the defendant away. Bravo, Mullier! Away with the bourgeoisie! To be honest, this does bear the mark of social justice. They would not pay him, so he had them robbed. There is balance here. Ugh, I really don't like that one. I really don't like that. Revolutionaries -6. That one hurts me. Because that's really what we kind of want to do, is ingratiate ourselves with them. That is our ticket up the political ladder, I would think. Well, I think that's it. But, I mean, also, we have the king in attendance, so, like, flagrant corruption right in front of him. That's not gonna play well, I don't think. Look, an authentic map by Turgot. It would be a pity if it rotted in a safe deposit box. We cannot do that. These are called deposits. Well, Mathilde did tell me long ago to take care of my study at home. There you go. I know someone who can remove these marks without damaging the map.
King Louis XVI. There were people who truly loved him. He reminded the French they had noble ancestors. Do not be manipulated by people who are not bearing the burden of responsibility. This saddened me. Someone had advised him to say that. Someone who was well aware of the cold, inevitable wind of change. I did not pity the king, but those who will come after him, as they will not have great ancestors.
Frenchmen marched in the streets of Paris side by side, one line after another, to commemorate Jacques-Guillaume Simoneau, mayor of Étampes. He was murdered by a furious mob, punished for a law he did not enact, but was obliged to observe. Freedom of speech killed him. If you understand this as the right to cast stones, to show one's discontent, the right to murder people because you deem them responsible for your miserable life, surely the people of Paris would prefer if we said that nothing happened. And if we do with the common folk, gain a little bit back with the revolutionaries for marching. Your son is rather good with the viola. He is both talented and enthusiastic. I would prefer that he was as enthusiastic about the law books I give him. Maybe his destiny is to become an artist, not a lawyer. Mother likes to hear me playing, and there is nothing more boring than law. See, he would rather let his career rely on the humors of the people. There are many ways to rescue France. Believe me, our country desperately needs something to ennoble it. The power is in the hands of simple illiterate people. Let him rescue their souls with music. That is better than bowing laws and clauses. See what you are doing? You are spoiling my child. I do not have my own children to spoil, so I am focusing on yours. Speaking of which... Oh, no. Okay, this is another. You attended the parade in memory of the lynched official. Yeah. Family really doesn't like that.
That is our new symbol of freedom. You can still smell the fresh wood.
Do you feel free looking at it?
Individuals like us do not need symbols, but France does. Did you hear the news of the day? People are running around like headless chickens and yelling about Louis and his entourage escaping Paris.
So, we will not be enjoying the aroma of fresh wood for long.
Monuments like that are not installed solely for the purpose of punishing thieves or lesser aristocrats.
Do you think it wants to taste royal blood?
Louis's flight was a stupid move, yet it seems it was planned. One of us will sacrifice him. That is, if they catch him.
Is that why Louis visited us at the court? To manipulate us?
Maybe deep in his heart he felt what the builders of the guillotine did. That someone has to be exposed as a traitor, even if there is none.
Louis must die so that the country may live, to quote Robespierre. Well, I think we shall call it a day here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the first part, and I hope you will join me for future episodes. It's certainly a very intriguing game so far. I really enjoy the home aspect of it, of going back to see your family and talking over the dinner table, as it were. That seems really, really intriguing to me. And the whole game seems really intriguing, in fact. I really like the execution of it, the art style, sort of the intricacies of the investigation, the interrogations. I mean, I think the question linking is a little bit hokey, or I find it difficult to find a term for it, but it's a little off, but not by much. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the game so far. I'm really looking forward to future episodes, and I hope you'll join me for them. Thanks for joining me for this one, and please be safe out there and take care. Bye bye.